snow in the division because the rest of the division sucks.
This is the best division in football, Tori. Take that step back. We are seeing the true quarterback that he really is, which he is not a very good quarterback.
Welcome to the Man Now, where we taking over. It's time to give you them facts. Won't miss a game or two, cause we here for you and we reporting all of them stats. We coming to you live to keep you updated. Broadcast across the country, we the fan favorites. Break the volume to the max and don't nobody touch it. We crossing topics off the list, addressing every subject. So if you ain't got a clue, then you can tune in and give it 24 hours and we back again. Breaking news, new scoops, we the top dogs. From the fields to the courts, we report it all. Buzzer beaters through your speakers, we the ones to call. Trust us for the news if it's got a ball. Giving you the top stories cause we love the turf. Tell a friend to tune in and where you heard it first. Yeah, you're listening to the Man Now. We taking over, it's time to give you them stats. Hey, you listen to the Man Now. Miss a game or two cause we reporting all of them facts. Hey, you listen to the Man Now. We taking over, it's time to give you them facts. Turn the speakers up a little loud. Miss a game or two cause we reporting all of them stats. Cause you listen to the Man Hour.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man Hour. Head over to manhourradio.com and check out the merchandise page, and of course check out the blog section as well. You can also find us on 96.1 FM Big X Sports Radio every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. East Coast time. No solo dolo tonight show. I do got the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Wyatt Williams at manhour_TWW. What's up, Wyatt? How's it going today, bub?
Nothing much, man. It's going good, man. I had a good day. Got getting ready for Florida for Friday. Getting everything, getting the laundry done now to go ahead and pack it. Just getting ready for Friday. It's about it. About as dangerous as I'm getting.
Well, hopefully your Wi-Fi straightens out here because we're hearing about every third word from you still, but Wyatt is packing to go to Florida because his aunt is graduating. So we'll go ahead and get him back as soon as we can. But guys, we do have an action-packed show for tonight. We're going to talk some Tokyo Olympics. That is big news right now if the U.S. should even compete or not. We're going to talk Bucks, Suns, obviously tonight as well. That's a big game 6. Starting here in about a half hour, Wyatt, 45 minutes. Is that when that game's starting?
It starts in 1 hour.
And then, of course,
guys,
yeah, so we're got 1 hour till game time, so we'll pick the winners for that game and see if there's going to be a game 7 or not. But some of the biggest news that has kind of broken here in the last 12, 13 hours is the SEC commissioner, Wyatt. The SEC commissioner has come out and said that they will not be canceling games due to COVID this season. So if you're not healthy, you are basically just going to get that L. So first things first, are you buying anything what he's saying there?
Yeah, I think so. Because the SEC was one of those, conferences last year who was really pushing forward for wanting to have football last year. When all that stuff was up in the air, when people couldn't decide if we were going to have football or not, the commissioner of the SEC was really the one, along with the Big Ten, who really hammered down on that. Like, hey, we have to have football. It has to happen. So I wouldn't be surprised if he instilled a rule like that. So, if he does it, that's, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people who are upset about it. If, say Alabama has a game where they get COVIDed out and they cannot play and they have to take a loss. But we all know that, the conferences and the NCAA will make things work for Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson, as we've seen all that. So, of course, that could happen. So, I don't know. I think I'm buying it because, like I said, they were the Trailblazers last year. They absolutely could be the ones doing this year. I wouldn't be surprised if more conferences followed suit with that.
So basically what you're saying is they are going to have these COVID rules for everybody but Alabama and LSU and Georgia. That's basically what it comes down to, because we saw it last year when Nick Saban got COVID on like a Wednesday.
On Thursday.
Friday, he was allegedly cleared. And then, he got COVID on a Tuesday, was cleared by Thursday, was on the field on Saturday. So, obviously, things are going to change. Like, I think for those special teams there. And when he come out and said that, the first thing that come to my mind right off the bat was the Ohio State stuff from last year when the Big Ten flat out said that you had to have 6 games to compete in the Big Ten championship game. And Ohio State was 5-0 going into the Big Ten championship game. So do you think we're going to have some type of number rule for the SEC? Let's say this this variant of COVID just starts taking rampant and sports get shut down for the 2021 college football season, do you think we're going to have some type of rule where they have to play 4, 5, 6 games to be eligible for X tournament or so?
I mean, I could see them doing that. I don't know if they will though, simply because I don't know if we'll even need to get to that point. COVID the numbers are so down now at this point that I don't want to say it's, non-existent and jinx anything, but we're kind of getting to that point to where it is kind of non-existent. I walk into stores now without a mask, just like everybody else. And I don't really bring a mask anywhere anymore. Nobody does. I don't think about it when I go to get out of the car, like, oh, do I need my mask? Like COVID is, we're seeing the end of it. We're getting there to that final part of COVID. So I don't know if we'll even get to that point, but if we do, I'm sure there will be some kind of a rule to where you've got to have a certain number of games, whether if that is 5, 6, maybe I don't see them doing 4, because if you're 4-0, I don't think that there's any way you could be eligible to make the playoffs, unless if the 4 teams you've beaten are Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and Oklahoma. Unless if those are the 4 teams you've beaten, I don't think anybody's going to accept a 4-0 team into the playoffs.
Why, go ahead and shut your camera off because your Wi-Fi sucks. We're hearing about every 5th word that you said. So just go ahead and shut your camera off there. Maybe we can understand you so you won't be pulling as much of a Wi-Fi here. So let's go ahead and try this again. So let's say we're 4-0 and you beat LSU, Alabama, Oklahoma, and who else?
Clemson. No, let's say you're 4-0 and you've beat Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, and Oklahoma. At that point, I could see them maybe letting in a 4-0 team. But other than that, I don't think that they would let a 4-0 team in, and there's no team that has that schedule. So, I don't think we'll see that. I don't think we'll see a 4-0 team in the final. No.
So basically, what you're saying is that if you beat big name schools, Alabama, LSU, you are automatically a great team, and so all the rules get bent for you. Is that what you're saying there, Wyatt? Absolutely.
I mean, we've seen it time and time again when Ohio State only had 5 games last year, and they were able to, they beat Indiana. They had beat Michigan. They hadn't beat Wisconsin because Wisconsin, they didn't play them that year. They beat Penn State at the time that Penn State was highly ranked. So they had that essay, or not essay, excuse me. They had the resume that they needed to get to that point. They had the essay. Oh my God. No, they had the resume to get there. So I think, when it comes to absolutely the NCAA likes to help out those who help them. And if you're a big team and you're beating a lot of big name teams, then I guarantee you that the NCAA will find a way to help you out in some way.
So basically what you're saying is, if you are a big name, so if you are Mr. D. Wyatt Williams, you will get into Full Sail University on a full ride scholarship. But if you're Michael Buckeister, not a big name, I won't get in. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I wish I was in Full Sail on a full ride scholarship. That is not the case, though. So there is that. But when it comes to the NCAA and their sports teams, yes, if you were as elite of a team as a team of Wyatts would be, versus how mediocre of a team you would be if you were a team of Michael Buckeisters. Yes, most likely you would be automatically just given the national championship, because I did start over Zen in 8th grade. So yeah. I'm a pretty good athlete, if you couldn't tell.
And you also beat Trey at 2K, right? So
right.
You are bound for the major leagues 100%.
That's exactly right.
So before we get into our first break here of the night, let's go ahead and address some of these comments. Facebook user says that China hasn't had COVID in over a year. It must mean it's fake. We also haven't had flu for over a year as well, so that means flu's fake as well, right? So why? What are your thoughts on that?
I I don't know. I mean, I didn't even know China hasn't had COVID in over a year. I didn't even know that. So
Yeah.
I guess good for them.
Well, fun fact is I haven't had a COVID in over a year and a half, so I'm living life great over here. So Facebook user also says USA or Italy. Are we talking about softball? We talk about soccer, basketball?
I believe basketball.
Basketball. Obviously, we're taking USA, right? I mean, we got to root for the hometown boys.
Yeah, no, I'll take USA. Absolutely.
Yeah, all day, every day.
If
And
it's
then Nana
basketball,
says-
go ahead.
Well, and then Nana says, "Hey guys, maybe Wyatt, you should do the show over here with my Wi-Fi?" ? Yeah, I mean, I know when you were doing the show over there, why you didn't have any issues with your Wi-Fi, but now all of a sudden you go back home. Maybe it's the Packers gold. Like maybe the gold's blocking the signal.
It's just I went from having great Wi-Fi to terrible Wi-Fi. So for a day or two, it's going to be a little spotty. But once it's weird how that works. Actually,
Yeah.
I don't know, Buck. You're more of a computer guy than I am. But if you live in an area where the Wi-Fi sucks or the service sucks, your computer and all that stuff will still work. Now, if you live in a area where your computer is used to having great Wi-Fi and great service, when you go to those areas that have no service, then you don't, you can't work at all. You know what I mean? So
that's a total BS answer, but okay, we'll roll with that.
You
one.
think so?
100%. Why? Why is your computer like, oh, this Wi-Fi is good, I'm going to work worse when I don't have great? Come on, man.
No. I mean, if you live in an area where your Wi-Fi is great and you go to somewhere where the Wi-Fi isn't good, your computer just like basically doesn't work normally.
It is just because you're used to the old ways. So it is like if you're putting this high quality synthetic oil in your car, and then all of a sudden you put the Walmart special zero weight oil, and your car's going to run a little bit different.
Right. It makes those extra funny noises.
Yeah. So Nana also says, "Great to hear your voice again, Buck." Yeah, I'm great to be back. I'm feeling very awkward here in the lobby hotel. I'm not gonna lie, but hopefully for 10 more days, I'll find my comfort zone and all that good stuff. So, Wyatt, you're gonna have to come. I'm over to the new K Casa before you head out. We'll have to do a show together at the new place. So,
absolutely, I'll do it.
Drew says howdy. Nana says howdy, and Facebook user says hell yeah, man hour. And then they come out and say softball. So in softball, Wyatt, who do you got, USA or Italy? I'm going USA. Like I think USA has by far the best softball team ever, right?
For sure, because it's USA, man.
Yeah,
I'll cheer for USA any day of the week.
Combs says Wyatt's computer refused to work under crappy Wi-Fi conditions.
That is true.
Yeah, and says you wouldn't want to work at Walmart either. That is 100% true. Combs with the jokes. So, guys, we are going to take our first break of the night. On the other side of the break, we're going to talk some Chicago Bears. We're going to talk buy, sell, and sleeper picks as we roll through the NFL to give you some buy, sell, and sleeper players going forward into the NFL. Before we head to the break here, Wyatt, let the people know about your guys' your and Tori's fantasy show.
Absolutely. So it is, excuse me, it is once a week. We do a fantasy football show, and basically we give you all of the ins and outs to the fantasy football game that you need to win your league. So everything you'll need from late round sleepers, which we've already talked about, everything from, great flex options that can win you your league, and coming up, we've got even more great content. We're going to break down positions. There's all kinds of great stuff that can help you on draft day, can help you at the beginning, middle, and even at the end stages of your season. When the playoffs come, when the rubber meets the road, and when it gets tough, we will be there for you, as well as you can always hit us on our Twitters, which is at @manhour_Tory and at @manhour_TWW, as you see mine there on the right with TWW, the Wyatt Williams. But yeah, that's our fantasy football show, $2.99 a month, and it's all the information and all of the content that you will need to win your fantasy football league.
Yeah, and episode 2 does come out tomorrow at 11 a.m. East Coast time, so look forward to that, as episode 2 does drop tomorrow at 11 a.m. So, guys, we'll be right back here on the Man Hour.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
And welcome back to Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeyes along with Brandon Combs and the White Williams tonight. That's that spoiler. We do have Mr. Brandon Combs on the phone lines tonight. Join us with some Chicago Bears talk. Imagine that. He tunes in for a show for 15 minutes to talk Chicago Bears. Surprise, surprise, surprise. So, Combs, welcome to the show, man. What's up?
Hey, there's no surprise there. You got two idiots on all week long talking about the Green Bay Packers. So I've got to come on and talk about my Chicago Bears, right?
Exactly. You are 100% correct. So, Combs, just so the people know, how did the Chicago Bears do last year in the playoffs? Asking for a friend.
About as well as the Green Bay Packers did. Neither one of them made the Super Bowl.
Okay. So what you're saying is they were a first-round loss, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, how did the Kansas City Chiefs do in the Super Bowl?
Did they make it?
Asking for a friend.
Did they make it to the Super Bowl or no?
Would you rather make the Super Bowl and lose, or not have to watch your team and just be able to enjoy the game?
I'd rather make it to the Super Bowl than lose and then ruin my first-round draft pick and have to trade up for a crappy quarterback like Justin Fields. But we'll get into that coming into the buy, sell, and sleeper segment. As shots are already fired. So, Combs, I missed you, Combs. I'm not going to lie. So, I
missed you that too, like crazy. I can't wait.
Yeah, so August 10th, Combs will be back for us live on air here. Hopefully, I'll be in my new house with my studio all set up so we can feel more at home and not feel so out of place. But with that being said, we are breaking down all 32 NFL teams here. We're going through each team, giving you a player to buy this year, a player to sell this year, and of course, a sleeper player like as well. So as always, we start with the buy segment here. And Combs, since you are on the line here, give me a player that you are buying for the 2021 Chicago Bears this year.
Well, you just talked badly about him, but I'm buying Justin Fields. Look, I said it before. I'll say it again. The guy is starting week 1. He's going to be out Andy Dalton for the starting spot. He's going to put good numbers this year. He's going to have great weapons. And, like our boy Wyatt likes to say, every weapon that he has is great. I don't care who it is. They're great. Even if they're on the bench, they're great.
Wyatt, who are you buying this year?
Well, I was going to talk good about the Bears, but you know what? I can't do that now. No, but I'm going to buy Devin Singletary, the running back for the Chicago Bears. We saw him pop off at the end of the year last year. He really kind of hit his stride. And, he's great on the receiving end. He's great on the running end. He fills the gaps very well as the Bears offensive line has seen an improvement with Tevin Jenkins. The Bears are seemingly starting to make some good moves to better their club. So, I mean, when you look at it, he's already a great running back, Devin Montgomery. And you add on top of that he's going to actually have a good quarterback this year to get him the ball through the air and hand it off to him as well. And a improved offensive line. From what he was doing last year at the end of the year, it only looks up from here.
Yeah, and the person that I'm buying this year is Allen Robinson, just because when you get the ball thrown to you from a veteran quarterback for 17 games this year, I mean, he's a top 15 quarterback as is. And then when you pair him up with a great receiver like Allen Robinson, his 1,250 yards that he had last year and 6 touchdowns, I look that to catapult to 1,600 yards this season and probably double the touchdown range there.
He's going to have a great year with Justin Fields throwing there, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Dalton will be starting quarterback for all 17 weeks, but we'll discuss that. We will discuss that coming forward. So on every side of the buy, there is a sell. So Wyatt, I'm going to give you the floor first here. Who are you selling for the Chicago Bears this year?
I'm selling your Mr. 17 weeks, Andy Dalton, because there was simply no reason to bring him in. I mean, the guy, I don't think Justin Fields is starting week 1. He might be. I think he should. I absolutely think he should be. But the Bears make Bears moves. Don't forget that at the end of the day, they are the Bears. So I would not be surprised if they kept Andy Dalton in for 2 or 3 weeks, So I think that there's a really big possibility he gets a couple of weeks to start. And then once he F's it up so bad that the Bears, have to fight out of a 1-2 or 1-3, maybe even worse hole. And that's how Justin Fields has to start his career. at that point, I think is whenever everybody will see, okay, yeah, it's time for Justin Fields to come in. But yeah, I'm selling Andy Dalton. I don't think there's even a possibility that he starts half the season. If he started half the season, yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Did Andy Dalton turn down a contract to play with his team that would have made him the highest paid quarterback and player in the NFL?
No, because Andy Dalton doesn't deserve that money.
Who did that?
This is from April. I'm sorry that Adam Schefter is a Bears fan and decided to release this now. That's a story from April, and he released it today.
Oh, okay. All right. Just wondering. You still didn't answer the question.
So, Combs, who are you selling?
That was.
I'm selling Tariq Cohen. I think Tariq Cohen's a gimmick back. I don't think they're going to use him much this year. I think with Justin Fields under center and also the signing of Damian Williams, which I think is going to turn out to be the steal of the offseason, I think Cohen ends up actually getting cut, if not before the season starts, at least by week 8. And he's looking for a new home. I just think that Tariq Cohen is one of those guys who, while yes, he's shifty and sometimes he can, break off a big run because he's fast. If he gets out into the open, the problem is he can't get out into the open. And I don't think that Tariq Cohen is going to see much of the field this year.
Yeah, and so looking at the comments here, Drew says Fields is not going to start till after the bye week. As I do agree with you, if Fields does,
Drew got 14.
I mean, if Fields does start, it will be after the bye week, and so that's why I am 100% selling Justin Fields this year. I don't think he will be an impact on the team whatsoever. They wasted a first round pick on a first round bust, as again, which they did with Mitchell Trubisky.
I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing here.
What are you doing?
I'm not going to let you do this. I'm not going to let you do it. You're not going to get me fired up, Buck.
So Combs, the facts is that you guys moved up in the draft to draft a quarterback where people said that he has trouble reading routes. He has trouble doing this, and this, and this. And you expect him to start
his
week
big problem was that he holds onto the ball too long. He has a tendency to hold on to the ball too long.
Right.
I've said that since before the draft.
And is your guys' O-line very good? Absolutely not. You guys are bottom tier O-line. So a quarterback that holds onto the ball for too long and you have a bottom tier offensive line, that is why you have to sell Justin Fields 100%, Combs. That's why you have to sell him.
You're out of your mind.
Why? Why am I out of my mind on that? Because let's take Wyatt's Wi-Fi reference here.
Is going to be better. Justin Fields is the reason why the offensive line is going to play better. They're going to be able to sustain drives. He's going to, when they do break down, he's going to be able to make a play. He's not just going to throw the ball up for grabs and throw an interception and turn the ball over and kill the morale of the offensive line. He's going to pick them up, and then in turn, they're going to pick him up. So this offensive line has beefed up, like Wyatt said, and this offensive line is not going to be the offensive line that we've seen over the last 3 to 4 years with the Chicago Bears.
So you are telling me that he is going to have to run for his life to sustain drives. Does that sound like somebody that we know? Deshaun Watson maybe in Houston? Derek Carr and
why is he going to have to run for his life to sustain drives? He's got a better offensive line. This is the best offensive line the Bears have had in probably 20 years. It's getting much, much better. Tevin Jenkins was a huge addition at the left tackle position.
Much to Wyatt's dismay.
Okay, so
this Bears offensive line is getting much better.
So before we get too carried away with the offensive line talk, Combs, who is your sleeper pick for the Chicago Bears this year?
Well, my sleeper pick is the offensive line. I think the boost of a solid run game with the addition of Damian Williams, like we talked about, and a quarterback that can actually hit a target, is going to boost this line's performance. I love the draft of Tevin Jenkins, like we had talked about. An absolute steal as a 39th pick overall in the second round. I can't believe he was still available there. And then if he can adapt and play left tackle, it just makes them more dangerous because they went out and got Larry Borum as well, another offensive tackle that they picked up in the draft who can play guard and can play tackle. This guy, brings a lot of versatility to this line. He's got size, got good run blocking skills. He can pass block. This kid is a total package, and the fact that he was available in the 5th round is even just as amazing as getting Tevin Jenkins in the 2nd round. This guy was another steal. He could end up being the steal of the entire draft. There's always that one pick that the Bears seem to have in the 5th and 6th round that pans out. So I think that this offensive line is going to be a lot better than people give it credit for. And you get people who are sleeping on them. But look, I don't think that they're going to be, world beaters. I don't have them winning 10, 11, 12 games. But they're going to be a good team. They're going to compete in a lot of games. And Justin Fields is going to get a lot of in-game, he's going to get a lot of in-game practice. He's going to be able to come out for his sophomore year, and they're going to be a much better team.
Yeah, he will definitely get a lot of in-game passes on the sideline, warming up Andy Dalton as he goes into the game. But Wyatt, who is your sleeper pick for the 2021 season?
My sleeper pick is going to be the tight end for the Bears, Cole Kmet. And this was kind of a hard decision because it was between 2 pass catchers. It was between, Cole Kmet or it was between Darnell Mooney. I think both of them are going to be stellar options this year for the Bears. Mostly because they're going to see a good quarterback throwing them the ball this year. They are finally going to know what it's like to catch a ball that a good quarterback threw. So for that reason, I'll take Kmet. And I want the only reason why I didn't choose Mooney is because he's the wide receiver 2 option. So he has somebody sitting over top of him, so that will be taking reps away. But Kmet is the tight end 1. He was the clear-cut favorite right now to be the best tight end in the 2020 NFL draft class. He's done a great job so far since he's been in the league. He had a little bit of a slow start last year, but toward the end of the year really picked up. But, I was really impressed with what I saw from the young tight end. I think he's got a lot of upstart on him. He's headed in the right direction. And, the guy is just a beast. He's a freakishly athletic tight end. He can reach out and get the ball. He's got a huge body to like they say, the tight end position, safeties are too small to guard him and linebackers are too slow to guard him. And this guy is that perfect middle ground. He's fast, but at the same time, he's big to where if you throw it up, a DB is not going to be able to move themselves around him to get this ball. He's going to come down with it. I was really impressed with what the guy did last year. I'm excited to see. He's a great route runner. Like I said, he's got great excuse me. He's got great hands, great athleticism, lots of speed. So I'm really excited to see what he does this year. He's my sleeper pick for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with somebody that was on pace for 5,000 yards last season, 28 touchdowns, and just under 14 interceptions last year with a QBR rating of 88. So arguably the best quarterback on the roster right now, and that is Andy freaking Dalton. Andy Dalton will be the sleeper pick for the Chicago Bears this year. Matt Nagy has already named him the starter for Week 1, and preseason hasn't even started. So that shows you what kind of command Andy Dalton requires in that locker room, and the command he has taken.
No, all that shows is that they're not just going to hand the job over to Justin Fields. He's got to work for it. That's all he's saying.
With that being said, Andy Dalton is going to throw for 4,500 yards this year. He's going to be the first Chicago Bear ever to throw over 4,500 yards, have a 33 touchdown season and just 12 interceptions. Andy Dalton's going to have a great year. This guy's watch it. MVP caliber Andy Dalton, top 15.
Stop it.
Hands down.
When you called me and said, "Hey, do you want to be on the show for a few minutes?" I was like, "Yeah, I really miss you guys." We started off this segment like I really miss you guys. Wyatt, I still miss you, buddy. Buck, man, look,
I miss you too, man.
All this stuff about Andy Dalton coming from a guy who had the Lions winning the division last year, picked them again to win the division. Like,
right.
I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. Okay. I give up.
So hang on. Let me give you some stats here, okay? I want you to name that quarterback, okay? Are you ready? 18.
I can already name him. It's Andy Dalton.
No, it is not. So last year, this particular quarterback at 1,800 yards, 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions for a QBR of 43.3, all last place in the NFL. Who was that quarterback?
Mitch Trubisky.
Well, not Justin Fields, because Justin Fields was in college.
Right, exactly, and he should still be in college because he's not going to be an NFL quarterback ever. That particular quarterback was Nick Foles. Right now, he's sitting at number 3. So you guys have the worst quarterback in the league right now at Nick Foles as your backup quarterback.
We've also got the worst quarterback in the league as what you want to say is the sleeper pick.
How can you have two worst quarterbacks in the league? There's only 132.
Fuck. Come on, man. I give up with you. This guy couldn't even win with a much more talented wide receiving core than what he's got here in Chicago. And you want to go ahead and claim that this guy is going to come in and be
whoa. Are you telling me that Andy Dalton got a fair shot in Dallas?
Yeah, he had a fair shot in Dallas.
Yes, he did. He should have never even saw the field. The fact that he did was his fair shot.
Yeah.
You know, do you guys, let's flashback. Was it the Washington game where he got knocked the F out? Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
that happened.
yeah. So let me ask you this. How many offensive linemen were there to help him up?
None, because they
Exactly.
were sick of watching.
Because the medic team said, move out of the way. We've got to wake this guy up. He went to sleep.
No, why? You are missing the point there. The point is that he did not have that team. That team was all Dak Prescott or bust, basically what it come
I
down
can't believe it. This is 15 minutes of my life I'm never going to get back. I gave up 15 minutes of swimming in the pool with my kids to come listen to this nonsense.
But I'm just saying, so Andy Dalton has basically dominated the Chicago Bears city, the franchise. He is commanding leadership there, and he is getting it.
He's
getting the support.
Anything except for the bench and people screaming for Justin Fields.
Holmes, when the Bears go 9-8 this season, and Andy Dalton leads you guys to 9 wins,
they're going to go 9-8, and Justin
Hold
Fields
on.
is
So you're
going to
saying
have
that
9
Andy
wins.
Dalton is going to go 9-0 to start the year, and then they're just going to suddenly bench him for Justin Fields?
I didn't say that. I said when the
You just
Chicago
said that they're
Bears
going to go 9-8, and Andy Dalton got all 9 wins.
Yeah.
You boys enjoy your
If a
night.
quarterback
I can't
goes-
take any more of this
If a
nonsense.
quarterback goes 9-0,
There
you're
comes.
not going to put somebody else in there. See,
When did I ever once say they were going to go 9-0?
you just said all 9 wins will come from him.
Yeah, that doesn't mean he's not going to get 8 losses on the year.
Oh, okay.
I
Never
said
mind.
when
I thought
Andy
you were
Dalton
saying that,
goes
like,
9-8 this year. That's what I
Okay.
said. That's
I thought
exactly
you were
what I
saying he
said.
got all 9 wins. And I was like, what?
Well,
But hey, Drew
will get all 9 wins.
said this right here. Didn't Kmet attend Travis Kelce's tight end? I think he did. Drew, I'm not 100% sure. I will figure that out and I will let you know. But I am pretty sure he was there. Yes, because I know like Kittle wasn't Kittle there. Knox was there from Buffalo. I'm pretty sure that Kmet was there too. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like 99.9.
Yeah, I have no clue. But we are up against our next break here, Wyatt. So on the other side of the breaks, let's go ahead and talk some more COVID, huh?
Let's do it.
That sound
COVID.
good? All right, guys, we'll be right back here in the
Did.
9 hour. Stay tuned, relax, sit back and enjoy. If I can find a clip, there it is. I like this one.
What is your name?
What?
What is your name?
Fuck!
Where did you get that shirt?
It's funny that you should ask that. Head over to manhourradio.com. You can pick up the shirt up. $15.
Man-Hour Nation brought to you by Brooks Roofing and Siding. Contact them at 812-868-7663 or online at brooksroofingin.com. Brooks Roofing and Siding. Protection you need. Major strikes.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeyes along with D. Wyatt Williams tonight. You can all find us on Twitter at @manhour_buck and, of course, at @manhour_TWW. Before we get too carried away into the next segment here, Wyatt, tell people a little bit about your guys' fantasy show coming up here Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. East Coast time.
Absolutely. So for $2.99 a month, excuse me, we are going to give you all of the fantasy football knowledge you need to win your league. Not come in second, not come in third, but win your league. Tomorrow's edition coming out, a little bit of a spoiler, a sneak peek, I should say. We will be talking about all those late round guys who will win you your league. The guys who you get, at the end of the draft, who you'll start week to week. Every single week you'll throw those guys in. But that's what we're going to talk about. Episode 1 was all of our flex options that can help you win. So there's your little sneak peek into it. You've got to tune in. You've got to see what we've got to say. Yeah, absolutely. $2.99 a month gets you all the information you need to win your fantasy football league.
Yeah, so basically all you guys do is head over to youtube.com/manhour and hit that join button, and you can simply, hit that $2.99 option. I believe it is the bronze option, if I'm not mistaken, Wyatt. And, bada bing, bada boom, you are in there. So I got to pull up this comment here. Drew says, Buck, that commercial proves how big of a geek you really are, letting your inner nerd out, LOL. So, Drew, what you don't know is I am a software engineer. So I actually am a very, very big nerd. So I get to type on the handy dandy computer all day and do all the fun stuff. And so, yeah, I am a nerd. So whether you want to admit it or not, like Cindy calls me a nerd all the time. And Wyatt, you've seen my nerd come out every now and then. So yeah, I
have. That's what we've talked about on the show before. Even like you don't expect you to be a nerd, like, but whenever you hear it, you're like, oh wow, oh my god.
Yeah. When I start talking in binary, yeah.
Like I'm totally kidding. I needed a computer charger for my computer, and it's just a Mac. I've always just called it a MacBook charger, and he's like, yeah, the MacBook takes the CMC R4Q, doesn't it? I'm like, what even does that mean? Like, what?
Yeah.
Send me a picture of it. I sent a picture. He's like, yeah, that's a CMC R4. I'm like, what are you talking about right now? Did you have too much to drink tonight or something? What is going on?
No, I'm just living life over here. So, but yeah, so Wyatt, let's talk a little bit about Bucks Suns tonight, because the game's getting ready to start here in about 20 minutes here. So
that it is.
I want to kind of get your thoughts out before the game starts. So first things first is, who do you got winning this game 6 and why?
I hate to say this, Drew, I'm sorry, but I've got the Bucks winning tonight. And the reason why is because the Bucks have won. The Bucks have only lost one game at home this year. If the Bucks win tonight, okay, they will have won more games in this playoff series, in the entire playoffs so far. They've won more games than they did in the entire 2015 season, something like that. They were 15 and 76 or something. I don't know. It was something like it was horrible. But I've got the Bucks, as much as it pains me to say, and we've talked about this a lot, because it is a win-win and a lose-lose at the same time. Right. Because either way, it's a win-win, because Chris Paul wins and gets his ring finally after all of these years, or Giannis gets his ring and he becomes the most accomplished 26-year-old of all time. I mean, everybody adores both of them. Society, the sports society loves these two guys. And, but on the other hand, it's a lose-lose, because either way we get to see Chris Paul crying, because this was really his last opportunity, in my opinion. And on the other hand, we get to see Giannis crying because Giannis didn't win it. So either way, it's a win-win and a lose-lose at the same time, because either way, one of our sports stars in America that everybody in America loves, both of these guys, one of them's going to win and one of them's going to lose, and it's not going to be fun either way. I mean, it's going to be fun, but at the same time, it's going to be not fun. It's going to suck. So I am picking the Bucks because they've been so good at home. They're finally returning to game 6 at home. Me and Tori predicted that last week. If the Bucks were going to win it, they're going to have to win it in 6. They're going to have to charge 4 in a row, which as of right now, they've won 3. It looks like they could win 4. They're incredible at home, and also the big 3 is really hitting stride. Like me and Tori talked about last week. Giannis is always going to give you the 34 points a game or more or a little less. He's always going to be around the 34 mark. Always. That's just Giannis. The X factors, though, are Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. And in the last game, we saw that. Chris Middleton had 29. I mean, I think the big 3 together, all of them combined for 88 points. And if you have 3 players putting up 88 points, just as long as your rest of your starting 5 and your role players play well or even okay, you're gonna win that game most likely.
They give you 20 points. I mean, you're golden.
Right, sure. So they've got 3 players putting up 88 points, almost 90. I mean, it's insane. That should not be real, but it is. It's real numbers, and it's numbers that these guys are putting up right now. And I can tell you, if they put those numbers up again tonight at home, with the loud Bucks crowd who hasn't seen a championship since 1971. And I know the Suns have never won one, but here's the deal. If you've never won one, you don't know what it feels like. So your want isn't as big as the person who hasn't won it in 50 years, because there are people in the stands now who remember that feeling. Right. They want that feeling back, and they haven't had it in 50 years. 5-0. That's long. That's a long time. That's a half of a century. That's crazy. So they want this bad. And if they have the big 3 going off tonight and they're in it at home, I don't see anyone in the league right now stopping the Bucks. They're playing such good basketball. Even the guy right now on the TV behind the camera here, Devin Booker, he put up 2 40-point games and still lost. Nobody in NBA history has ever done that before. You've got Chris Paul, who's been playing out of his mind. DeAndre Ayton is finally hitting that stride after so long. Everybody thought he was a bust. Jay Crowder is looking good. The team is really playing great basketball. But here's the deal. If the big 3 of the Bucks come to play tonight, like they did in the last 2 games, I don't see it. I really don't. I don't see the Suns being able to pull it out. Now, I will say, if the Suns win tonight, I don't know who wins Game 7. If the Suns win tonight, Game 7 is such a toss-up. Honestly, I'll probably name one side of the quarter Bucks and one side of a quarter Suns and flip it, and that's what I'll go with. Because if that's the case, both teams have now won on the road. They've broken that barrier of nobody can win on the road. So what's one more road game loss, or what's one more home game win after we've seen so many? That's why I think if the Suns win tonight, Game 7 is a toss-up. I mean, a genuine toss-up. It's going to come down. Both games, Game 6, and if we do see a Game 7, are going to be down to the wire, in my opinion. Of course, now that I said that, the Suns will win by 40 tonight, and then the Bucks will win by 30 the next, in Game 7, of course. But no, in my opinion, I do think that we've got a tight game tonight, and if it does go to 7, we've got a tight game in Phoenix for 7. It's going to be awesome. I'm really psyched to see tonight's game, and if it goes to 7, I'm excited to see that one too.
Yeah, and I think you are absolutely wrong on that. Like, if this does go Game 7, I think the Bucks are kind of emotionally drained from that home crowd, feeding off that energy and like everything. Like, and like, man, we gave it everything in Game 6 to close out and win it at home. We don't have anything left for Game 7 because that Phoenix crowd is going to go crazy just because they've never won, and it just. Like you said, they don't know how to act. It would not be surprising if we saw 16 fights in the stands in Game 7, spitballs flying, ice cubes flying, all that stuff, right? Just because they said people don't know how to act. So, but there were a few things in your statement that you said that I want to pull out here. One thing being, you said that everybody loves Chris Paul.
They do.
I don't think so. I don't think everybody loves Chris Paul. Think about this. When he forced his way out of Houston and he was in OKC, everybody said he was done, washed up. He is not even a top 10 player. And now that he has led, air quote there, the Phoenix Suns to the NBA Finals, all of a sudden he's this great player. He's the greatest point guard of like all time. Yada yada yada. Like, So just because you lead a team to the finals, that automatically changes all your perspective of a guy.
No, I mean, I don't think that everybody hated when he left Houston. Everybody was more or less mad at that moment. At least I know I was. I felt like it was Harden's fault, kind of, because Harden, we had seen, many clips of them on the bench where, you've got Chris Paul, who's the point guard, trying to, talk to his team, trying to get the troops rallied, and you just see Harden come in with an attitude and just wreck the place. So I think that the Houston situation was definitely James's fault. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that Chris Paul was completely innocent and there was nothing there, but along the road, everybody's always kind of liked him. When he was with the Clippers, everybody's always liked Chris Paul when he was there. I mean, he's the State Farm guy. He's the face of State Farm. He's that smiling face, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. That's what they say. They put his face on it because he's the good neighbor. Everybody likes the guy. That's kind of how I've always seen it. And everybody's rallying behind him so hard in these finals for him to win it. I know that Nikki's rallying behind him, but she's really rallying behind Devin Booker because she likes Devin Booker a lot. But
she thinks he's cute.
She does. She does think Devin Booker is cute, but nonetheless, no, I think Chris Paul, he's a great guy. You can really see it. Like I said, he's the face of State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. All that good stuff. State Farm has used him as the smiling face for them.
Oh, geez.
So a lot of people really like the guy.
Stop with that 100%. So let me ask you
this. It's true.
Let's say CP3 takes the league minimum and joins with the Nets. So they have this super team, right?
Villain.
He becomes a villain all of a sudden just because he joins a super team.
Absolutely.
So he goes from the lovable, likable face of State Farm to the face of
Kevin Durant went from that. When LeBron left Miami, and John Cena said this better than anybody at the ESPYs, like probably 3, 4, or 5 years ago. When LeBron left Miami, the NBA needed a new villain. So the loved young star, the great shooter, the all-time great scorer, Kevin Durant, goes and joins the Golden State Warriors. They hated him. The league has such a weird way of changing its villains from time to time. And the league is starting to like Kevin Durant again more and more. So, with that being said, if Chris Paul were to go and join them, the league would hate Chris Paul right in that moment. I guarantee it. I would guarantee if he left, especially the Phoenix fans, if he left Phoenix and they didn't win the title, are you kidding me? They would be furious. He would never hear the end of it. Anytime he got near Phoenix, if he played anywhere against a Western Conference team, they would boo him. If he played anywhere but in Brooklyn, they would boo him.
Yeah. So, you say the NBA needs a villain. So why isn't Kawhi the villain? Because he goes from San Antonio to Toronto. And then he jumps ships and goes to join LA, and now he's going to jump ship and join the Mavericks. Like, how is he not a villain?
Kawhi has the resume to be a villain, but he's not loud. Kawhi drives.
CP3's not loud though either.
Well, but CP3 isn't. But at the same time, Kawhi is like the quietest player in the league when you think about it. I mean, Kawhi doesn't want to be in the limelight. Kawhi drives a car that's been paid off for like 10 years now.
Me too.
I mean, well, yeah, he's a smart guy with his money. Everybody loves Kawhi. Is another guy that everybody just adores.
You're saying I'm not smart? You call me dumb?
No. No.
I mean, if you are, you are. Just own it, man. Own it.
But no. Kawhi, I see what you're saying there. Kawhi has the resume for it, but he's not loud enough for it. Kawhi is the quietest player in the league. When he had that laugh or whatever that he did, remember that when he did that and it went viral, at that moment the NBA and the basketball community fell in love with him forever. It doesn't matter what he does for the rest of his life, short of killing someone, the NBA is going to love him because he's such an odd case. Like you don't see NBA players acting like him. He's quiet. He only has one vehicle that I know of, and it's been paid off. It's got like 200,000 miles on it too. Like you don't see superstar athletes acting like that. Like He is so relatable. It's ridiculous.
Okay,
That's
so
why Kawhi couldn't be that.
when's the last time you heard Kevin Durant speak out?
A week ago, 2 weeks ago?
About what?
About him and Scottie Pippen went at it.
Well,
He's always on Twitter, Easy Money Sniper.
that was at Twitter. I mean, anybody can be a Twitter warrior, right? But like,
He is.
When's the last time you've like heard him speak out? You know, like, hey, I want out of OKC. Hey, I want out of Golden State.
The last time he spoke out about a team midway through the season this year,
he hasn't, because his mama does it for him. How can a mama's boy be a villain?
He's like the worst kind of mama's boy though. Like, he does all the talking, and then once it gets tough, his mom steps in. He backs up. Like with him and PJ Tucker, whenever they went at it in the NBA Finals, you didn't see PJ and KD going at it. They went at it for a second, but after that, you saw Mama KD on the side of the court side, yelling at PJ Tucker during a break. PJ Tucker literally looked at her and just started laughing because, I mean, she literally just picked up that fight and took over for Kevin because Kevin is just that guy.
Are you saying that KD's a bitch?
He is. I'm just kidding. KD's not.
He is a bitch.
But Drew, what did Drew say there? Drew says, Wyatt, you said it. The only reason both of them are so popular because they're so relatable. Absolutely. They're also what does that mean? Philanthropic?
I don't know. It seems Greek.
It seems Greek.
So let's go ahead and move on to some Olympic Games talk here, Mr. Wyatt Williams, _TWW, the Wyatt Williams. So there have been 70 confirmed cases over at the Tokyo Games. And I was on a 4-letter network earlier today watching their show just because, I like to compare our show versus their show. Our show is very, very, very much better than theirs because we are raw, live, and uncut and unbiased with no political background on it. And some particular person said that the U.S. should boycott the Olympic Games. So before I tell you what I think about the whole situation, should the Olympics or should the United States boycott the Olympics because of the COVID?
No, because the Olympics is one of those things where there are very few opportunities in life now for you to represent your country, unless if you really become someone in the military. I mean, you can represent it on Facebook. There's always going to be people on Facebook representing it. But I mean, on television with a live audience, with people listening, with a live audience, there are very few opportunities for that in life now. And I think that, or I know the Olympics is really one of those only opportunities that you get. So I don't think they should. I absolutely think they should not boycott it because it's where you get to represent your country as you battle with other countries in sporting events to earn honor for your country. I mean, when you stand on the podium in Tokyo, they don't see an athlete. They see America. They see China. They see, the stadium, the scoreboard doesn't say your name. It says your country. Exactly. It says, that's what I'm saying. So you represent your country in that aspect. So I don't think there's any reason to boycott it because you lose the opportunity to represent your country while doing the sport that you love most. So,
okay.
No.
Right. So there are 70 confirmed cases at the Tokyo Games, right? So with that being said, guys, I looked up how many Olympic athletes are there going to Tokyo, and I'll pull it up right there. If you guys can see that, it says more than 11,000 athletes are going to the Tokyo Games this year. So simple math here. Let's go ahead and do 70 divided by 11,000. Why? Do you know what that breaks down to?
No.
It's 0.006%. So we are looking at less than we're looking at 0.5%, basically, Wyatt. 0.5% of the athletes have COVID. There's more people that in this hotel that probably has COVID. I mean, there's 500 rooms here. I bet you 800 of us have COVID. I mean, let's just be flat out honest. I mean, you were looking at 0.5%, and you want to boycott the Olympics. You get one shot every 4 years to prove that you are the greatest in the world.
Right.
Once in every 4 years. Some people, you get one shot and that is it. So you want me to boycott my chance to win a gold medal one time in my history just because of COVID, just because of what did Facebook users say earlier, a fake disease? Right? I mean, it's absolutely asinine. So Stephen A. Smith, you are stupid, man. I'm going to flat out say it.
I wondered who you were talking about whenever you said 4-letter sports network and who.
He is the most fucking asinine person that I've ever met. Like, dude, like he will weave an out
58.
It's just, it is 58. It is just absolutely stupid. Like, I mean, like, we can go back to the girl smoking weed. She literally blew a once in a lifetime opportunity to go get high, right? Once in a lifetime opportunity to prove that she's the fastest female in the world. And she blew it away. And so now you want me to boycott the Olympics because of COVID? Come on, get the F out of here with that. Like, come on, Wyatt. Like, so that is like me saying, hey, Wyatt, you have one shot ever to go make your best impression for Barstool Sports, right? You have one shot. Are you going to let the flu stop you?
No, not at all.
Are you going to let a little bit of ice stop you, like an ice storm, like a 100-year ice storm stop you?
I would literally walk if I had to.
Exactly. You would literally walk. Say we're here in southern Indiana, and you're going to Indiana or to Indianapolis. It's a 2-hour drive, right? So walking would probably take you at least 15, 16, 17 hours, right? Easily.
I don't care if it's New York, Florida, LA, Oregon, China. So, I'd walk and swim if it was China.
Yeah, it's absolutely stupid. Like to even consider it. 0.5%, Wyatt, of the people tested positive. 0.5%.
Right. I wouldn't. Absolutely not.
I don't know. It just it gets me pissed off, honestly, Wyatt, when people like that want to talk out their ass that are like, oh, it's just you can go back 4 years from now. Well, 4 years from now, I'll be 37. Am I going to be able to compete? Hell no. No. Stupid. All right, guys, we're going to take our next break. On the other side of the break, we got to talk a little bit of Tom Brady. We got to talk some Patriots. And, of course, Buffalo Bills and Ravens. All that and much more here, guys, coming up on the Min Hour. We'll be right back after this. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckheit's on the Wyatt Williams tonight. You can find us both on Twitter at manhour_buck and, of course, manhour_TWW. And if you are new here, definitely head over to youtube.com/manhour. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Also become a member over there. As low as 99 cents a month, you become a member by simply clicking the join button. And for that 99 cents, you get access to the after show. We'll get that started back as soon as I get back into the studio and can do some more stuff with just not living off of one screen here. And then, of course, at $2.99, you get access to the fantasy football show. So Wyatt, tell the people a little bit about the fantasy show.
Yeah, so the fantasy show is $2.99 a month, and we give you all the information you need to win your league. It's me and Tori. You can also hit us on our Twitter which is at manhour_Tori. That is Tori's and mine right there. You see it below me at manhour_TWW right there. And yeah, $2.99 a month.
And then of course we have the $5.99 deal as well, so you get all the after show footage, the fantasy football footage, and of course you get a free T-shirt after 6 months of being a part of Man Hour Nation. And then the $9.99 deal, you get a hoodie every year you are part of Man Hour Nation. So simply head over to youtube.com/manhour and hit that join button, and that's where you can get all access to that. So Wyatt, I've been off for 10 days or so. Like, it feels like you and me haven't done a show together in at least 3 weeks. It seems like 2-3 weeks,
something like that. It's been a little bit.
So how has life been, buddy? Like,
it's good. Actually, it's funny you mention that. Just getting ready for college, and I got this in the mail from Full Sail. I figured, you want to open it on air, see what
Let's
it is.
Let's do it.
So it's a nice big orange package that here says Dream. What's that? I can't see the black.
Seriously?
Dream seriously.
Okay.
Then this says Let's Go.
Let's go. Hashtag Man Hour Nation.
But yeah, so big orange package. We'll see. It's a black package inside of it. That's discreet.
AdamandEve.com. Promo code ManHour.
Promo code ManHour. There's also this booklet there. So we'll jump to that in a second. And then, let's go. Okay, so that's all that's in there. Yep, that's empty. Okay, so we'll set that over here. First thing here looks like some stickers.
There you go.
Pretty cool looking. There you go.
Like
nice
sunglasses.
I know. Cool. I like these, man. Especially the
skateboard.
Got the big gate right here. That's kind of the famous gate Full Sail right underneath my finger.
Okay.
Cool. So there's that. Let's see here. Then we've got this sheet. It's time to get excited, Wyatt. We can't wait to join you on this journey toward achieving your dream as we get closer to your first day at Full Sail. We know you might have some questions. Whatever you need, we're here to help. Just reach out to our launch team.
There we go.
Launch team information. And then a little booklet here that says launch. I think it's just, so it might be just picked. Oh, no, it's got like little information in there. So
yeah,
nice little informational booklet. Now,
drum roll, please. What's in the black box?
Oh God!
Very discreet back blocks. It's roughly 8 inches long.
It's a pop socket.
It's a pop
and
socket.
Some Full Sail sunglasses.
I like those sunglasses.
I know. Let's break these bad boys out.
Are those white?
I think so, yeah.
So guys, let me know in the comments here. Because Cindy is a firm believer that anybody that wears white sunglasses are douchebags. So if you
thanks.
Do you think white sunglasses are douchey? Oh, 100%. They're douchey on you.
Are they douchey?
No, I'm just
Are they douchey, Nikki?
They look too small for your face.
Nikki says they're douchey.
Yeah.
I like these, man. I'm gonna be wearing these to Florida on Friday.
They look too small for your face.
They look great.
No, they don't want it.
I think they do.
I mean, I'm a very heterosexual male, and I'm telling you don't look good in them. I mean, I love women.
Pop socket, I guess. My phone case just broke, so I got to get a new one. So that's perfect timing. I got a pop socket now to throw on there. But yeah.
So that's Drew says, what the hell is Full Sail? So it's like sail, like you're sailing a boat. And Full Sail is it is a school where you can do like IT broadcasting. They have it's basically a college that you can that you can get a 4-year degree in roughly about 20 months. And I believe it's Dan Patrick that kind of is the face of that, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. And that's what they have down there for broadcasters. It's a 20-month program. I get a 4-year degree, and it's cheaper than all the colleges and, like IU and Ball State in this area. It's cheaper than all, and I get in-state tuition at Ball State and IU. So even with all that, it's still cheaper, and I get to live in Orlando, downtown Orlando, for 20 months, which will be a really cool and fun experience. But yeah, we have now unboxed the giant orange package that I needed to. So
yeah, with the 8-inch black concealment as well. So that's very exciting. You got some hot socket there, and Drew says something's going to pop tonight. So definitely popping out of that 8-inch black concealment thing there. But so why? Like, let me tell the people alike a little bit about your path to Full Sail, because like it was roughly 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, you were really undecided what you wanted to do, right? And and then you came to me and you asked my advice, and I really pushed you to go to school to get a 4-year degree. Yes, you were going to be a great broadcaster one day, 100%. But like, I pushed you to say, hey, you need to go get this 4-year degree, and you need to have something to fall back on, right? So
right.
Like, time has passed. You have graduated high school. You've matured a lot in the last 3 or 4 months. Do you think this is the best choice still?
Absolutely. And it's kind of, it's come with, it's really cool actually, because, I liked IU and IU and Ball State and Full Sail were the 3 that I was choosing from.
Right.
All 3 that have incredible programs. IU has Franklin Hall, of course, up there, which is awesome. And then Ball State has SportsLink, which is an amazing program as well. Both are top 5 sports broadcasting programs in the nation. So, and then Full Sail is newer, so it doesn't have the rankings yet, but it's just as good. I've done the research to figure everything out with that. So, Full Sail is just as great of a program, and they're on their way up. But, now that I think about it, looking back, I absolutely think I made the right decision, simply because I knew that I wanted, like, I have matured a lot since I've graduated, and even, for the last 6 months or so, but I think I still have got a lot of room to grow. So I think being in my own element, 12 hours away is going to help me a lot in life down the road,
right.
Because if you want to get big in this industry, you've got to go to places like, LA, you got to go to New York, you got to go to Chicago, Miami, big markets, which is far away from Indiana where everybody is. So it's kind of nice that I get some exposure to that, as well as, Full Sail offers a ton of cool things. Like, they've got the #1 film program in the nation, and you sometimes get to link up with those kids and work with them. And they're all incredibly talented. I think the new Black Widow movie that's coming out, there's 21 Full Sail graduates that are working on it. Right. So, Full Sail is a great all around school. It's in an awesome area. It's like the lowest crime rate in the entire state of Florida, the area it's in. And there's also just so much to do down there. You've got Disney World. You've got, it's the theme park capital of the world. There's Universal Studios is down there. You've got the giant Legoland. The beach is, 45 minutes away. Tampa's an hour away. Miami's like 2 hours. It's literally in the heart of Central Florida. You're right there around everybody else. And I took a good look at all of the schools that I was looking at in their graduates. And something that I noticed is there's a lot of graduates every year from IU and Ball State. Tons. And it would be cool to be, at a school like that, but I would start out as more of a small fish in a big pond. You know what I mean? Exactly. Whereas at Full Sail, there's not as many kids down there. So you get more of a one-on-one experience with your professors. as well as it's a smaller class, so I can be a big fish in a little pond down there, and I can stick out as well. And on top of everything, like I said, you're done in 20 months. You get a 4-year degree, so it saves you time. I get a 2-year head start on everybody in my class, so that's a big thing. And also, one of the greatest quotes I've ever been told in my entire life. This came from my radio TV teacher, which I spent the last year of my high school career with at WJHI, and it's some of the best advice I've ever been given. And it is, in life, you have to be smart enough to know that you're stupid. And what he meant by that was, I am terrible at math and science, and I know that. If I go to Full Sail, I don't have to take math, I don't have to take science, and I don't have to take English. I can focus solely on sports broadcasting classes 100% of the time. And the studio is open 24 hours. It's kind of their claim to fame there. So, after I had talked to you about that, I talked to my parents a lot. I talked to Dench at WJHI, Clay as well, Dave Sockel, Nikki. I've got the greatest supporting cast in the world, dude. Seriously. Like, I would put it up against anybody in the world. But after I talked to everybody, it seemed like it was the best option. It was the best fit for me. It was the best fit for me and Nikki, because she's going to go to Valencia down there, which is a little private school that feeds into University of Central Florida. So, I am incredibly happy with the decision that I made. I think I still would have been happy at IU and Ball State. I think so. Simply because they're great programs, they're great areas. So I would have been happy either way, but I think that I made a really good decision for myself, for me and Nikki, for my family, for everybody around me with me going to Full Sail. I think it's my best shot at doing something cool. So,
yeah. And you also know a teacher there now too.
Yes.
Me.
Wait, what?
I'm teaching server management there now, starting in September. So, fun fact.
Are you serious? No, you're not.
Yeah, I'm doing an online class, 9 weeks every 3 months. So,
you're teaching at Full Sail now?
Crazy, isn't it? Crazy that nerd.
You're lying to me. I do not believe you. Are you serious?
No, 100%. Yeah.
That is so
really
awesome,
good money.
actually.
Really good money, actually. So, with that being said, we talked about once in a lifetime opportunities. We've talked about the Olympics. You making big strides in your life and like all that stuff. Tom Brady is doing the first thing that he has done in 16 years. He is going he went and visited the White House today with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do you think why do you think all of a sudden he is doing this now?
I don't know. I saw the stuff that he was saying. I saw some of the jokes that he was making. I don't know if it's because he's a big Biden fan, maybe. I don't know if it's because he's never huh?
They are the same age, right?
Right. No. Honestly, I don't know why he's just now going for the first time. That's a good question. I never noticed that either. I don't know. I never thought of that. That's crazy though. What do you think? Why do you think it's the first time he's going?
Well, this is not the first time he's going. This is the first time he's going in 16 years. He didn't. So the Patriots didn't go in 2019. He didn't go in 2016 or 2012, I think it was.
So you're telling me that he doesn't like Trump or Obama?
No, I don't think that's the reason. I think he is able to be himself more. So he will be able to go and hang out, and be one of the guys and have fun and maybe get stupid drunk and throw the Super Bowl trophy into the White House lawn or something crazy like that. I mean, but just
throw it from boat to boat,
right? Just but I don't think with the Patriots, it was any fun. Like he went once.
You're telling me that Bill Belichick isn't a fun guy?
I'm saying that the Patriot way is not the fun way to do things. It's all business, right? So you were there on a business trip. You weren't there eating, KFC and McChickens, right? You were there eating steaks and steak and lobster. No, that is not a pun that Trump got. Who was it? West Virginia, a bunch of McChickens or whatever he did. That's not a poke at anybody. It's just it's a business way. It's a blue collar way and a white collar way. and I think they're all white collar with the Patriots. And I think when he went there today, he can be a blue collar guy. He can just be one. He can just be one of the guys. I think that's why he went.
Right? No, I think I could see that. The only thing that I would say is now looking back on it, do we think it was the Patriot way or do we think it was the Tom Brady way? Because I think we saw the Patriot way in Tampa this year, and I think it was the Tom Brady way. I mean, we saw he's the first person in NFL history to ever return his entire starting lineup.
Right.
This has never happened before.
Well, it's what's the first time in 30 plus years, right? Since the free
No,
agency.
it's Super Bowl era history.
Yeah.
It's never happened in Super Bowl era history.
Right. So
over 50 years.
I don't think it's the Brady way or the Patriot way. It was just a perfect storm. It was just a perfect. Sure. It was Bill Belichick at his prime, and Tom Brady needed that drive and fire like Bill Belichick do, and they both pushed each other. So, I think there was no Patriot way or Tom Brady way. It was just a perfect storm, and we saw that, and that perfect storm carried over into Tampa, which came with Tom, which brought Gronk, it brought Leonard Fournette, it brought, who else he bring down? I mean, he brought 5 or 6 players in with him to basically make this championship team, right? And then we saw the quote Tom Brady or the Patriot way take over week 9. Now that was just a veteran quarterback knowing the playbook and learning how to play with new guys. So I don't think there was a Patriot way or a Tom Brady way. It was just a perfect storm. What are your thoughts on that?
I absolutely agree that it was a perfect storm. I don't know. I just think I saw a lot of mentality carry over, it seemed, to Tampa Bay. But I do agree with you that, a lot of people like to argue, Bill Belichick wasn't anything without Tom Brady, or, Tom Brady wasn't anything without Bill Belichick. And I think that both are true. I think that Tom isn't Tom without Bill, and I think Bill's legacy isn't Bill's legacy without Tom. Before Tom, Bill was if I had to compare him to a coach in the league, it was almost like Adam Gase, honestly. He had terrible records all the time. He had 2 good seasons when he was with the Browns, I think, like that.
Well, his first year was it first year or second year with the Patriots, he was building a team with that Drew Bledsoe led team.
Right.
They were a playoff bound team. It just, obviously Drew Bledsoe got hurt and Tom Brady took over a great team, so I mean, would they have won six championships with Drew Bledsoe? Absolutely not, because Drew Bledsoe was well past his prime. Maybe
Drew
last
Bledsoe
year
retired long ago.
Yeah. So I mean, he was well past his prime. So we definitely wouldn't have seen a dynasty by any means, but they weren't going to be horrible. They weren't going to be 2-14 year in and year out either, though.
Right.
So it's just Tom Brady, I feel fell into a perfect situation, kind of what Patrick Mahomes did. Let's be honest, Patrick Mahomes kind of fell into a perfect situation in Kansas City.
Absolutely. It seems like that's how seems like that's how all dynasties start. You get that perfect quarterback coach duo, and the rest kind of falls into place. Just as long as you've got those 2 key pieces and they're on the same page and they're working together, the rest will work itself out. I mean, you may not be.
Go ahead.
You may not be the dynasty that you won't be the dynasty the Patriots have, or what the Chiefs are buried to endure. But just as long as you've got a good coach and quarterback, the rest will fall in line. It's going to find a way to work out.
Yeah. So speaking of falling in line and working themselves out, we saw the Buffalo Bills have a great 2020 season, and the Baltimore Ravens also finally win in January last year. So I want to propose this question to you, Wyatt. Who was under more pressure going into the 2021 season, the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens?
I think Baltimore, because the Bills are just kind of hitting that hot start. Last year was really the first time in a long time that we've seen the Bills be dominant. And the Ravens have had some issues with in January and beyond. They've had some issues winning some games there. So,
Since Lamar Jackson been quarterback.
No, but
yeah, since Lamar Jackson's taken over quarterback, they won one playoff game.
He's been there for like 3 years, but
okay,
he's only been a full-time starter for 2 seasons, and they played Tennessee whenever Tennessee went crazy in that playoffs run. So, Tennessee almost beat Kansas City and went to the Super Bowl. I mean, that year that
almost
Kansas City won.
Atomic bombs and hand grenades, not football.
But no, I think that there's more pressure on the Baltimore Ravens because they've been better for longer, and they have had some struggle bus issues with playoff games. So I think that the Ravens fall under more pressure. But if the Bills don't produce this year, I think they'll be under that exact same pressure because when you think about it, they're both kind of in the same position. Just 2 years apart. If you look 2 years ago, what the Bills are right now is what we thought that the Ravens were back then. So they were this team that came, kind of out of nowhere. They went 13-3. Both teams went 13-3, and then both teams just didn't go all the way in the playoffs that year. So, if the Bills are able to figure it out and they're able to consistently play like they did last year and in the future years, I think that the pressure lies absolutely on Baltimore. But let's say Lamar goes crazy again this year and they start winning games. They win a couple playoff games, maybe get a shot at the Super Bowl. Then I think the pressure falls back on Buffalo. But I think at this moment, the pressure is definitely more on Baltimore.
See, and I think the pressure falls more on the Buffalo Bills because they did make it to the championship game last year, and they're, they made the playoffs the year before, but they were 8-8 or no, sorry, they were 10-6, right? Yeah. But they weren't that team, right? Like nobody expected them to do a whole lot. Last year, people expected them to do a whole lot, and when they made it to the AFC Championship game, they beat Baltimore, and they who else did they beat? They played Baltimore. Did they get who did they play in the playoffs? They played the Baltimore and the Chiefs, and that's it.
The Bills, they played.
I'm drawing a blank because the Browns played the Steelers, Ravens played the Titans, and then the Chiefs had the bye, right?
They played the Ravens, didn't they? Because the Chiefs played the Browns, and they beat the Ravens, and then they played the Chiefs in the AFC Championship and lost.
Well, who'd they play in the first round?
They had a bye.
So who'd the Chiefs play in the first round? I'm drawing a blank.
Me too. What?
Because we had the Steelers, Browns, right. Ravens, Titans, Bills, Chiefs. We're missing somebody.
Wasn't the Dolphins? They barely missed it. It was. Yeah.
Shoot.
Who was it?
Guys, help us out here.
Right. Somebody commented. What is going on right now? It was.
Sheesh. Now I feel dumb.
I know. I'm like, why do I not remember this?
Yeah. See. Here we go. 2020 playoffs. Shoot. Pull up. Dang it, Wyatt. It's your fault, man. That's not right. It says Houston Texans.
What? It was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I got look. It's 2021 NFL playoffs.
Here we go. Colts. So
my God.
the Bills. Yeah, the Bills play the Colts
first round, right? And Phillip Rivers literally tossed the ball out of bounds like 4 times, and then tried to have a good run down. Yes, I remember that now. Yes, so the Bills opened up against the Colts. So they beat the Colts, then they beat the Ravens, and then they lost to the Chiefs.
Right? How do we forget the Colts, man?
Right, we both live in Indiana. How do we forget the Colts?
Maybe because it was fucking Phillip Rivers, right?
It was Phillip Rivers.
but yeah, so like I think there's actually more pressure with the Buffalo Bills because they did make it to the AFC Championship game last year. So like when you have that production, you want it to carry on to the next year. So therefore you kind of play tighter. You kind of like you expected to like win. So you're not going to be as good. So much like, Floyd Central a couple years ago, they won a lot of games and they were expected to like win. And then, the effort doesn't go in there. So hopefully they learn from that and they hire a good defensive coordinator that can make game plans and adjust. But yeah, so definitely
the DC
Bills.
spot is open for anybody. There's the one at Corden closed though. I saw that. So if you're looking for a spot at Corden, it's closed, but the one at Floyd Central's open.
So no, they hired a guy from Mayo.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. That's
actually a good hire. I'm not gonna lie. I will give them that. I'm not gonna say that, but you know what? Never mind. Well, that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah. So week 3, I get to play.
I have a lot of opinions on that. I'm sure you do too.
Well, the Corden DC position is probably going to be open again next year. So if you guys are curious about that, just go ahead and start applying. Too soon?
No. I think it was beautiful. I loved it.
You know
it was
what I'm
great
right now.
You can't wear that anymore. You're a silver. You're a creaker.
Yeah, I'm a creaker. So, guys, we're going to open up the lines for Shop Talk. So, if you guys are, curious to chit chat, I'm going to open up the lines here. Normally, Wyatt, we're supposed to go to break and all that good stuff, but you know what? Let's just let's end the show a little early. So we got 15 minutes left here on the show. So I want to talk to you about a big game coming up here in the 2021 NFL season. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New England Patriots. Is this going to be the biggest game of the year?
Yes. As for score wise, like great game, no, I don't think it will be. But as for actually, I don't know. It could possibly be a good game. But as for viewership, I'm telling you right now, mark me down for this. Okay,
I'm recording.
When Tom Brady goes to Gillette Stadium to play the Patriots for the first time since he's left, there will be more people watching that game than some playoff games. I'm telling you, it will be the highest rated regular season game of the year, and there will be some playoff games that don't get watched as much as that game. I promise. I'm telling you right now, the tickets are selling for that game. Nosebleeds are like $1,000. Nosebleeds.
That's just because it's the Patriots. I mean, let's just be honest there.
No, it's not. There's never been nosebleeds for $1,000. That's how much the Super Bowl is. I'm telling you, that game will be higher viewership rating than some playoff games. I would guarantee it.
So let me ask you this question. Do you know when they take the ratings for the games? Is like after the first quarter or like 10 minutes into the game? Like, do you know when they actually take the ratings?
Normally at the end of the game. I don't know. I have never called an NFL game before, but I know whenever we did ours for the IHSA, it was always after the game was over. You check your ratings right after the game ends. After your broadcast ends is when it is. So it's not as soon as the game ends, but as soon as you cut off the broadcast, our thing had a little stat bar that would come up and tell you.
Oh, so like how many people were like tuning in? So like how many views you got?
Right.
So okay. So I mean, like if it were to be like throughout the whole game, I could see it kind of being higher, people tuning in and tuning out and tuning in. But if you took it for like just the fourth quarter, I bet you they only had like 10,000 people tuned in. This game is going to be so
you don't think it'll
ugly.
be a good game? You think it's a blowout?
No, it is going to be so ugly, man. It's going to be because Mac Jones is going to be starting that game. And it's just
what week is that?
I don't know. I should have looked it up. I don't know. But
I'll find out.
I just feel like it is going to be a very, very ugly game. Like, do you remember when like what game was that when Tom Brady threw like 5 touchdowns in the first quarter? Like last year.
I had him in fantasy that game because they took him out right. It was Tennessee, I think.
Yeah, he scored like 5.
I think it was the Titans.
5 touchdowns in like 12 minutes, and didn't play the last 45 minutes of the game or something ridiculous. I could see something like that happening. It's just like I feel like
it's week 4.
Yeah,
it's week 4. So I bet Cam is still starting then.
You think Cam's still starting? I don't think Cam starts week 1 now. I wouldn't be surprised if Cam gets traded.
You think so?
Yeah, just because Cam was good the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, and then he got COVID, and just every time he threw the ball, it hurt me watching him throw the ball. I was just like, man, that has to hurt. Like it was almost watching like Phillip throw the ball. It's like, dude, that has to hurt.
His I always thought that his throwing form was completely different for when he was in Indianapolis than it ever had been. He like cranked his arm out like it was a pitch. Where am I at? Okay, here we go. Like it was a pitch. Like his arm was way out here and he would bring it across instead of just going over the shoulder like you should. He was like baseball throwing it. It was weird.
Like I didn't
like it.
Well, and like Cam's kind of the same way. So I think
Cam's just a little more mobile than Phillip, right?
Just a tad bit,
a tiny bit.
But I think they're throwing like that. Why is because their arms hurt, because their rotator cuff is torn and just not repaired, or they don't have full mobility. So I think once preseason starts, we're going to see Cam Newton throwing it. It's going to hurt us to watch him throw the ball, and he is either going to get released or he's going to get traded to somebody that's going to need a backup or a third string quarterback. And I would not be surprised if Mac Jones starts week 1.
I don't know if he starts week 1, but I think it's early. I think there's a really good chance that he plays against Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And Tom knows this. It's tough to win at Gillette, no matter how good or bad the Patriots are. It's tough to win there. That's a tough place to play. And Tom Brady knows that. And regardless for how big that game is, I feel like Bill Belichick kind of knows right now that he's not going to be a Super Bowl team this year. So really? I feel like he's putting So I feel like all of his aces.
I think they're going to be a sleeper team, honestly. Sneak into the playoffs and surprise some people like the 50.
Their division's too good. I think they're the third best team in their division.
Yeah, which is still top 7 in the AFC.
One of the teams in their division didn't even make the playoffs last year. They're second team.
Well, that's because it was very, very top heavy. Now I think the AFC has kind of leveled off a little bit. So like you have the Buffalo Bills, you have the Chiefs, you have the Ravens, and then you have the Colts. But then after that, those the
Browns are going to be. I'm telling you, man, the Browns are going to be good this year. I promise.
Yeah, they will be the best 8 and 9 team out there. 100%. 100%. I agree with that. It's just like I think we are going to see a lot of 9 and 8, 8 and 9 teams in the AFC.
I hate that. I hate that number. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's
the worst one that I'm gonna puke when I see it is 5 and 12.
5 and 12, yeah.
5 and 12, 12 and 5. I hate that. I hate that so much. Oh, I hate that number.
Yeah.
It makes me sick. Or 13 and 4. Ugh. Yeah. I hate those numbers. It's like it's not right. It's 13 and 3. It's 12 and 4. It's 11 and 5. It's not 11 and 6. It's like what?
When did the NFL switch to 16 games? Like from when they moved to 14 to 16, was that like in the 50s, 60s?
No, because in the 70s it was only a 14 game season. So I want to say it was like the early 2000s.
Really?
Let me check.
I don't think but I wonder like how long it took to get used to to the 14. I like the even number but just the odd number of games just really throws it off. It was
late 70s. It was in 1978 the league changed its schedule to include 16 regular season games and 4 exhibition games. From 1978 through 1989, 16 games were played over 16 weeks, and in 1990 the NFL reintroduced the bye week to the schedule, which it had not since 1966.
Okay.
Yeah, so the schedule wasn't as it's comprised now till like the 90s.
Interesting.
But
now this
16 games started in the late 70s.
I hate an odd number of games. Like why should I?
Right, it's so
one
weird.
Team have more home games than the other?
I normally hate ties.
Yeah.
I normally hate ties on records. It looks so bad.
Everybody gets a tie.
But I'm gonna love it now. I'm gonna love it. I'm praying for ties now.
Every 500 team out there is be 8-1.
You know how satisfying that number is? 8-1. That is actually satisfying. Hey, here. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you here, like, why do you think there's a tie in the NFL?
It's stupid.
Every other sport doesn't have a tie.
It's horribly stupid. I hate college overtime rules should be in the NFL. That you should there is no such thing as a tie in life. You either win or you lose.
As in, like, they put the ball at the 25 and they score on 4 plays, or
right, like started at the 20, back it up to 25, go to the 30, go to the 40, go to the 50, go to the and just keep backing it up, and eventually add it to where you have to go for after double overtime, you have to go for the 2-point conversion. Like, I think the NCAA, the one thing they've got figured out is the overtime rules. That's the only thing the NCAA has got figured out with football is the overtime rules. I mean, that is really it. But I will give it to them. They've got great overtime rules. I think the NFL should instate it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, even like hockey, they went away with ties, and they did the shootout now, and soccer even does the shootout and whatnot.
You ready for this? This has always been my idea. This would be entertaining.
Dodgeball.
That would be good too. Here's what we do. We take the 2 biggest offensive linemen. We lube them up completely, head to toe in baby oil, and we put them on a slip and slide. And the first one to fall down, their team loses.
That's so dumb.
That's one. Second one, kicker kickboxing match. Okay? My third one, and this is the best one, in my opinion. Okay? The
Man Hour Nation, that's going to be it for tonight. As Mr. Wyatt Williams gets cut out. Come on, Wyatt. Looping up. Kickball kicker. Sheesh, man. What are you thinking, man? Give us your third.
Third, I'm telling you right here. Third is the best. Okay?
We don't care, Wyatt. Have a great night, Man Hour Nation. Rise up.